Hello and welcome. My name is Marc Blatstein, the physician founder of Physician Pre-Sentence Report Service. This YouTube is going to be bringing us all up to date on Elizabeth Holmes. And while this is the article that I'm going to reference is about a month old, there's a reason why I am doing the YouTube today. Back in early mid-April, a judge had ruled that Elizabeth Holmes could not remain out on bail while she waited for her appeal. And she had 3 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. It was $100 million. It was $100 million crime, if you will, or count from the feds. And Elizabeth, she's a brilliant girl. She's 39 years old. She founded this company when she was an undergrad student in Stanford. So she's a very smart person. And where I'm going with this is that when the feds decide to actually go through with their indictment, not all of the time, but they have a 98% rate of conviction. And at 39 years old, she has a lot left in her. She has a family at home, and she can do a lot of good things. And for her to spend it's an 11-year sentence, it wouldn't all be spent behind bars. She could get out much earlier. But for her not to at least done the most amount that she could do to shorten her stay, and by that I mean that she could have taken time through introspection and through an attorney that possibly was not an enabler, and sat down with her and said, listen, the feds have a 89% conviction rate, and you may not have started out to do wrong, but somewhere along the line you're the captain of this ship, and so things happen, and so you need to take responsibility for it. And by doing so, start drafting a personal narrative where there's people lost money. She's responsible. And so there's a narrative that needs to be drafted, a reentry plan that needs to be drafted, an allocution where she needs to begin to convince herself, the victims that, there were victims to this crime, to this act. There were people who lost money. And so, it's better, listen, it's never too late to have this epiphany. And so when I went on to the BOP website, or the Federal Bureau of Prisons website, I saw that she's actually not even there yet. And so for whatever reason, the gods are still shining on her. And so she's still not in prison. It's still not too late. The pre-sentence report has not made it, it's written. It's still not into the Federal Bureau of Prisons yet. There is still time for her to have this turnaround and have this epiphany. And so whether it is, with that attorney, another attorney, whether it's with me or with another person who excels in this particular mitigation space, to sit down with her and just talk this through, because everyone has a reason, which is you need to find out. Not every people don't just get out of bed one morning and try and do evil things. And so by talking this whole process through from whence it began years ago, there can be a reason that it doesn't excuse it, but it begins to develop this reason for it. And so I'm bringing this up because she's not in prison yet. There are options. Possibly she can actually begin to think about paying back those that she has harmed, the victims of this particular, that invested in her, because they invested in her. in Theranos in her idea. And so I hope it's a short YouTube. I hope you found this interesting, helpful. If you're the attorney or know the attorney for Elizabeth Holmes, I'm more than willing to speak with the lawyers or with family. But either way, I appreciate all of you listening, taking the time out of your day to listen to this, and have a safe day.